So to get a Gladue report completed by our Gladue program at NanLegal, it can be requested through their lawyer. And in order to qualify, they have to be facing possible jail time, and they have to have pled guilty to at least one charge. And while the request comes from the lawyer, I think oftentimes our members aren't aware that they're entitled to one in the first place. They can request one from their lawyer to have a Gladue report completed. So our Gladue writers write the reports for our community members who are going to be sentenced. And the report contains essentially their life story as well as some family history and community history. And the idea is to inform the court of what led this person to come before the court. Our Gladue caseworkers provide aftercare support for our members who've had a Gladue report done for them. And they will support them in following through on the recommendations that are meant to put them on a healing path and generally just improve their life circumstances.
And some of these reports are hard to read because of the information that they contain, like deeply personal, traumatic information is often carried in these reports. And they deserve to be used as important tools in the sentencing process. I think they're absolutely vital.
So for the interview, after introducing what Gladue is all about, I like to start with a person's family tree, basically. I'll ask them who their parents are, who their grandparents are, where they're from. Sometimes their life story already starts to take some twists and turns just with those first questions. And then I turn my attention to other interviews, family members especially, who are close to the person or know the person well. And then others that may know them well too, like former teachers or employers, just whoever's been involved in their lives in a close way. There are elements of a person's life that have come to be considered Gladue factors.
Gladue factors are things that affect an Indigenous person, often specifically because they're Indigenous, including if they attended residential school or not, or if they were part of the 60 Scoop, and what issues are facing the community, whether it's lack of access to proper drinking water, whether it's lack of access to a high school or other poor education systems.
Various forms of abuses that they may have endured. Any trauma in their lives, which often there is, almost always there is. So the biggest section of the report is usually the background and systemic factors, all these Gladue factors that we've been talking about. But there are other sections of the report that may be important. The current matter before the court, what they've been charged with, what they've been found guilty of. The court can be an intimidating process and venue. It may be easier to express themselves about the charge itself speaking one-on-one with someone than in that courtroom. At the end of the interview, I usually ask them to sign a consent form, and that would allow me to access things like medical records, counseling records. It's all leading to recommendations at the end of the report, and that's the starting point for the caseworker.
My job is to go in and then meet with the individual, review it, and provide some ideas about how I can help this person. So the recommendation could be like addressing some of the needs that have come up in their story in some of the interviewing with the writer. I always try to approach it from a trauma-informed perspective or practice where I'm looking at it and I'm saying, okay, what's missing? What's missing in their story? What did they not get help with? Then I can use it as a recommendation. I say, maybe this person needs to be seen by a clinician, a therapist, an elder, a healer, a traditional healer, to help them with that part of their life now. And when I met with people afterwards, they have an awareness now that their life wasn't always one way. It's a life-changing thing.
And oftentimes, once you have a really good Gladue report and good recommendations, I will tell the offender that your probation order really shouldn't be looked at as a punishment. It should be looked at more as a healing plan, a healing journey that you'll go on with the support of whatever programming and recommendations that the Gladue report has in it. And they tend to look at it in a more positive way instead of like, oh, I've got to work with this probation officer, and I just, no, don't look at it that way. Look at it, this is your healing plan.
And some of the people that we've worked with, they've been in survival mode, so they've been trying to get from point A to point B every day like this for years. And once they get a chance to really slow down and think about and review their life story, I think that itself is healing.